she was suggested to him, but was convinced to cast her.
Scarface?
I guess he didn't. Although, what in Scarface would be like? I know, Catwoman. Especially his version of Catwoman.
That's true.
He became convinced after meeting her, he became convinced she would be perfect and that she could be both Selena Kyle and Catwoman at the same time, which didn't happen in the movie, so I don't know why it mattered. She took kickboxing lessons for the role and trained with an expert to master the whip, during which she accidentally cut her teacher's chin. I can't speak today. But when it comes to Catwoman casting, there's only one thing you want to fucking hear about, and if you've never heard this story...
Strap in.
This is real.
All of it.
My hand to Batman, this is real, and if you listened to the last episode, Batman is, of course, my Lord and Savior. Sean Young, after being forced to leave the role of Vicky Vale because of a rehearsal horse riding incident, she wanted another chance and figured she would be the perfect Catwoman. Of course she did. She constructed a homemade Catwoman costume and attempted to contact Burton and actor Michael Keaton during pre-production of the actual production. She went to the Warner Brothers lot in costume with her own film crew and attempted to get in and talk to Burton and the producers. It backfired, as Burton wasn't there that day, so instead she just settled for prowling around the studio, making everyone uncomfortable, including Michael Keaton.
Is this tape available?
No, she's never made it available.
You want money, Sean Young.
However, if you want a clip of it, it does exist. She also appeared on the Joan Rivers show in costume, in character, and proceeded to taunt Tim Burton in an attempt to prove she was the character, which is on YouTube. Go watch it.
And Joan Rivers being Joan Rivers, like, oh, this is gold.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't call her insane once, which I thought was weird. She went with it.
No,
and was like,
you don't want to insult them. Let them be crazy on their own. We don't have to call them crazy. We know it. Just let them go. Because if you insult them, they'll just leave.
See, this is why I don't get a talk show, because I don't think I'd ever be able to go, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You just give them enough role,
Yeah, they'll hang themselves, for sure. She has no regrets. She was interviewed in 2016
She's crazy, so no.
And said that she still wants to play Catwoman. And still has a version of the costume.
95-year-old Sean Young wants to play Catwoman.
Not only does she have a version of the costume, she took pictures of herself in it. Those are online too. Yep.
Sean
2016,
Young?
my friend. On a side note, she was arrested at an Oscars party in 2012 for allegedly slapping a security guard.
As Catwoman?
No.
Damn it.
But there is a handful of other times where Sean Young acted like a crazy person. I did not have them here. I know we will have another Sean Young film in the future. I will save it for then. But just know that
Blade Runner?
Well, maybe not Blade Runner. Maybe another one. There is another film that we will eventually get to, and it doesn't have nearly as many things to talk about.
Oh, fair enough.
So, that might be the case. We'll get there.
We'll come back to the Sean Young crazy train
at
a later date.
There's a lot involving James Woods and a lawsuit. It's gold. And if you know how crazy James Woods is now...
Gold, Jerry. Gold.
Just amazing. Anyway, back to the Catwoman. More than 60 latex catsuits were created for the 6-month shoot at $1,000 each.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that shit cannot be cheap. The initial concept for the design came from Tim Burton, no shit, who envisioned a stuffed cat with stitches coming apart at the seams. The prototype was created around a body cast of Pfeiffer, and then apparently they fucking turned it in, I'm guessing, so that it would fit her exactly, and painted it with white silicone rubber to imitate scratches. It was extremely tight and very laborious to put on. No shit. Michelle Pfeiffer had to be covered in talcum powder to squeeze into the costume, which was in turn brushed with liquid silicone on every take to give it a shine.
I'm sure Michael Keaton didn't complain.
I bet not. Pfeiffer...
She took some of those home, FYI, I'm sure.
No, she didn't.
No?
No, I'll get there.
I'm Batman, you gotta let her do it. Come on, Tim. I need this.
This is probably why she didn't take it home. Pfeiffer might wear the suit for 12 to 14 hours at a time, except for lunch breaks when it was removed, which was her only opportunity to use the bathroom. Because it was one of those things where that thing was so tight you could not take it off. So,
although the image of her catering would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Danny's out of makeup.
He's not.
He would
have. You can't take that makeup off.
So just the image of Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito as Catwoman and Penguin, just having some chicken or rice or something at catering.
That scenario wouldn't have happened. I'll get to that in a minute. The costume was vacuum sealed once she was fitted into it for her scenes. So she only actually had a short amount of time to perform before she would have to have it opened, or she would become lightheaded and pass out.
1 second, Michelle.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is it too tired?
I mean,
you're turning blue, Michelle.
I ain't gonna lie though, worth every fucking second of that shit. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's up there with Slave Leia.
For me, it surpasses.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
You know,
I mean, I'm a little biased, but it does. When asked during a 2007 talk show appearance if she ever felt nostalgic and put on the catsuit to amuse her husband, Michelle Pfeiffer stated that once filming was over, she never wanted to see that costume again for as long as she lived.
Because just like we're all like, oh, this is great and all that. Yeah. She's the one who has to be vacuum sealed into a leather outfit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be fun.
Yeah. However, in March of 2019, Pfeiffer shared a video of herself performing several whip tricks on social media after she posted that she had uncovered the prop. So,
well, yeah, I mean, that you can.
Weirdly enough,
she wants to do that with her.
I remember reading an interview with her around the time of Batman Returns where she talked about how awful the catsuit was, but she was going to continue cracking the whip because she liked doing it. However, I guess she didn't, but sounds about right.
One's a little less fun for hubby, huh?
Yeah, because that's a real fucking whip. That's not some bullshit like, oh, we're going to play
Not
now.
that we kink shame here.
No, but I mean, this is like, Passion of the Christ style whip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Call back, folks. Let's see. The bat suit was updated as well, which was made out of a thinner, slightly more flexible foam rubber material than the suit from Batman, and the logo was changed to better reflect how it looked in the comics, or all of your promotional material. Because we didn't talk about that last week, but the bat symbol that's on his chest in the original Batman film is not the same one that was everywhere. It had a couple little fucking indents right before the tail. If you look at that, you can see that it's different. You're like, why? Why were they there? I don't understand, but they finally made it look
because that logo is
iconic.
Quite possibly one of the greatest logos, if not the greatest logo of all time.
I would agree with that.
Like the classic black and
the black
gold.
The one that they used for this film would definitely, or the other film, was probably the most iconic logo. I mean, it's not the Batman logo that started, but once that was created, whoever the hell created the oval logo, the best you've ever seen. Like that.
Other than the S.
Yeah. And considering that, like, when they were producing the Batman movie, they didn't even put the word Batman in it. They just put the fucking logo up, and everyone knew.
Branding.
Right? The new Batsuit also had a zipper for urination.
Hey!
And the
Batman
upper body...
pee.
And the upper body build did not look like a muscular physique anymore. Batman was also fitted with new Nikes. They're Air Jordan 6s connected to an upper which gives it boot-like appearances. Because if you remember, in the original, he was wearing Nikes.
Just do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He didn't have that.
I know.
He's like, yeah, we'll just do it.
It's not as fun, though, to do that voice.
It's not. But he does have a Batman voice. I was listening for it, and he did have a Batman voice.
Even when he didn't need to.
Yeah. A couple times, yeah. DeVito was uncomfortable in his costume. No shit. But this made it easy for him to get into character, which he stayed in throughout production, creeping out fucking everybody.
One of those guys, huh?
Yep.
So, how you doing? Oh, hi, Danny. Who's Danny?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, would you be going by Penguin or Oswald?
He'd be Penguin or Oswald, depending on what they were shooting.
Where they were in the story.
What they were shooting that day, yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'll give you credit, Danny, for at least sticking with continuity.
Exactly.
I'll give you. Oh, we're not there yet. I'm still Penguin.
I'm still Penguin.
That's great, Danny.
The bats were entirely composed of computer-generated imagery, since it was decided directing real bats on set would prove to be problematic. The Penguin's bird army was a combination of CGI robotic creatures, men in suits, and even real penguins. Robotic penguin puppets were commissioned by Stan Winston. In total, 30 African penguins and 12 king penguins were used.
You telling me some of them penguins are little people?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
All right. Probably the ones that dove in.
Yeah, probably. Actually, no. Penguins, they do that actually rather well, so they probably would have been able to get them to do that.
Those penguins were adorable.
Oh, I've got an awe moment in here, so give me a minute. Yeah. Animal rights groups started protesting the film after finding out that penguins would have rockets strapped to their backs. Richard Hill, the curator of the penguins, explained that Warner Brothers was very helpful in making sure the penguins were comfortable. On the flight over, the plane was refrigerated down to 45 degrees. In Hollywood, they were given a refrigerated trailer, their own swimming pool, half a ton of ice each day, and they had fresh fish delivered daily straight from the docks.
Fuck yeah, living the life. Good for you, boys and girls.
Even though it was 100 degrees outside, the entire set was refrigerated down to 35 degrees.
They were cool as a cucumber.
This made it very cold for Michelle Pfeiffer,
who
was most of the time only clad in a latex catsuit. According to the American Humane Association's on-set oversight, the 6 emperor penguins that act as pallbearers for the penguin's body at the end of the film were little people dressed as emperor penguins.
Right. What about the Michelle Pfeiffer humanitarian fund? What about that?
Oh, no one gave a fuck about that.
Yeah, it's
no,
like,
come on.
oh, we need to care about the birds. What about the poor woman who's freezing her ass off?
No one cares. She's a grown-up.
Millionaire. Who cares?
Pretty much. That was literally it. In an interview, Stan Winston talked about how his crew were collecting the mechanical penguins after a day's shoot, and found one of the live penguins snuggled up asleep next to one of the mechanical ones. So, there you go. There's your awe moment.
He found his missus.
A miniature effect was used for the exteriors of Cobblepot Mansion in the opening scene for Wayne Manor. The same method was used for the Bat ski boat and the exterior shots of Gotham Zoo. Now, why was it in LA, you ask, when they spent $250,000 storing these sets? Well, part of the deal, and signs they were in a bit of trouble, Tim Burton decided he didn't want to film in England, making the $250,000 spent storing the sets aside from the first film a loss, preferring to stay in Los Angeles to be at home, costing the production millions to construct new sets in LA.
I just want to leave LA.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
It's weird, what goth person wants to stay in California, by the way?
You would think that if you're a goth person, you'd want to go to the gloomy skies of England, where everything you love came from.
It's like Disneyland for goth people.
Yeah,
Come on!
It doesn't make any sense to me.
All the churches and all the Victorian, all the... Come on!
Yeah, I don't fucking get it.
But you and your California girls, Tim.
Yeah. Well, I mean, considering the woman he was with for 20 years.
Exactly!
He did alright.
No, I'm not complaining.
Staying in LA worked well for him, I think. Production designer Anton Furst, who won an Oscar for the first Batman, wished to return for this film, but due to contractual obligations with Columbia Pictures, was unable to do so. He was replaced with Bo Welch. The film he worked on was Awakenings, which turned out to be his final credit, as he committed suicide on November 1st, 1991. Yeah. In early 1991, 2 of Hollywood's largest sound stages, Stage 16 at Warner Brothers and Stage 12 at Universal Studios, were being prepared for the filming of Batman Returns. Filming started in June of 1991. Stage 16 held Gotham Plaza, based on Rockefeller Center. Universal Stage 12 housed Penguin's underground lair. A 500,000-gallon tank filled with water was used. Burton wanted to make sure that the Penguins felt comfortable. 8 other locations on the Warner Brothers lot were used. Over 50% of the property was occupied by Gotham City sets, which you can't tell because it's always the same fucking place everywhere they shoot.
Yeah, when you watch the movie,
it's always the same spot.
There's like 5 places in the whole film. It's like the zoo, Gotham, Rockefeller Center, whatever, Gotham Plaza, and like the same kind of side streets.
Yep,
it's Shrek's building too. Yeah, Shrek's.
Well, the problem is. Well, yeah, because the Rockefeller Center, the Shrek Plaza was right to the right.
Yeah.
So it was one block. The problem is they didn't go back to fucking Pinewood Studios, where they had a set that was much larger. Not too big, because if you watch Batman, yeah, they do go to a lot of the same sets too, but
they have added on, more. If they did go to Pinewood, all they would have had to build is maybe
Max's
building. And then you don't even need Rockefeller, you can do it at City Hall.
Yeah. And they would have had to...
Because guess where every tree lighting is ever?
Yeah.
Mostly City Hall, other than maybe New York, who does it in Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, and I mean,
I go by our city, because our city does it at City Hall.
The only other place that they would have had to do is, they would have had to find a place to build the fucking Penguin place. But that would.
You could CGI a zoo.
Not in 1991, you couldn't.
CGI a zoo here. Not the actual set, but when they zoom in. Because you can build...
Those were miniatures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The water tank continued leaking, so many workers were tasked with just constantly building walls to stop the water from leaking everywhere.
That's a great job.
That's a job. Oh, I worked on Batman Returns. What were you? I was the wall guy. You know.
Not 1 centimeter of water came in this set.
Dude, it's L.A. No one talks like that.
No, give me this. Give me Lou the Wall Guy. All right.